Hey, happy Friday. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery kits. And I am here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. And it's a time where we can relax and craft together and work on projects from beginning to end so you guys can be part of the whole process and work on them with me. All right, you guys, we are going to try and finish the free motion quilting on this block of 4 squares here. So this is for the Splendid Sampler 2. I am doing the quilt along that we've been working on. And I've been doing the Quilt As You Go process, which means that I quilt together these smaller units, and then we will be assembling several of these units all together into a larger quilt. So we're kind of putting like a binding piece in between these. And when you're done, you don't have to quilt it because it's already done. And it's just, it's been really good for me to practice my free motion quilting on small squares like this. So we're experimenting with that Quilt As You Go technique. Next week, we will be combining all of these blocks. So this is the 4th one that we've done within the past week and a half or so. We are going to next week, this is one that we have done already. So this is, next week we'll be starting to assemble them together. So we got these 3 assembled. We have them assembled with like a little binding strip, and I'll show you guys how to do that next week. And this is like a finished part of a quilt right here. So once we're done with this, all we're gonna have to do is throw a binding on it and be done. So I have one last one to go. That's this one. We just have to do some more quilting, and then we'll be ready to trim these and bind them all together. We got 3 other ones here. So let's get this done tonight. I'm stoked for next week when we can start making our quilt grow. All right, I'm gonna flip you around and we'll get started. There, thanks again for joining me, everyone. So here are those other ones that we are working on. So these are our 3 other completed ones. So we have that pineapple block that we squiggled all over, and we'll still have to trim these down to the I think it's 13 inches that we're trimming these down to, and then we'll be ready to go. So we'll have to trim them first. Here's this guy. This is the one that we did that eyeball and this kind of snowflake looking deal. And then we practiced like our little pearls, string of pearls. And then this guy here, this was on that poofier batting. I'm kind of mixing battings. This is where we played with templates. So I got a few ruler templates and we tried those out. So we tried these clamshells. This is actually the other side of the same template. And then we had a circle template too that we tested out here. And then we just had some fun making feathers, using feathers as the branches coming off of this tree here. And then this was our last one. So this is our 3rd day on this one. Kind of what we're doing with this, since it's all pictorial. You know, this is a spool of thread, we got a kitty, flowers, and these bowls. We kind of tried to show those off a little bit. So all I've been doing is just stitching in the ditch, really. And every once in a while, we'll add an extra detail. Like here, we zigzagged back and forth on where the thread would be. And you know, so with this kitty, we outlined him right on top of the stitching, because then you can kind of see it from the back, which, you know, then you get a kitty on the back too, which I think is nice. And the same thing for these. We did the outlining. So last night we outlined the clamshells and then outlined the flowers. I think those turned out really nice. And then we also outlined the little soup bowls, and we made some ramen. Some ramen with some chopsticks on the inside there. So I think that just turned out so cute. I really love that. So tonight our plan is to outline them. So you can see here, I've done like a big 1/2 inch outline around the shapes. And then I've gone with another outline that's a 1/4 inch. Just because I thought having like a big space in between our stitching in the ditch, our tracing of the design, and having a big space there before we get to the detailed quilting, I think that would, it's contrast. So we have the detailed quilting with this big airy space, and I think that's going to put all our attention on our actual shapes here. You can kind of see that happening on the back. Like we have this all traced out, like the parts next to this swirl, the light parts just kind of pop. So I'm hoping to get that same effect down here. So I'm going to start right here, and we're going to go that 1/2 inch. We're going to bump into things that we have already, so I'm going to just trace that, and then we're going to keep bumping around the whole piece. And then we'll come back around with that extra 1/4 inch. Then when we're done with that, then we'll start filling. I'm trying to practice these swirls. These are just so scary to me, these swirls, like these back and forth, trying to get in and out of spaces. So I thought I could use some practice. So we'll have all sorts of nooks and crannies to get in and out of for those swirls. So that's the plan for tonight, guys. All right, I'm going to get to the machine and we'll get stitching today. So I hope everyone had a great Friday. It froze outside again. So luckily that's halted our basement flooding or, you know, seepaging issues a little bit for the day. So we'll see. I don't know. We lost already like a 4 feet of snow or something, but we still have a good 2 feet out there. But our driveway is almost clear of all of ooh, I didn't bring up the bottom thread. Oh well, you know what? I think I'm just not going to. I forgot to bring up the bottom thread here, which I usually do, but I'm right on the edge, so I can kind of hold that thread in place. Let's see. Oh, here's the other grippet floating on top right here. You saw a quilt where the quilter just did spirals all over her quilt. Maybe 5 spirals. Oh, that's so interesting, Gretchen. I'll have to see if I can Google something like that. All right, so we're gonna just start. So my presser foot is a 1/4 inch from the needle to the outside all the way around. It's a 1/4 inch anywhere you go. So I'm gonna just do a 1/4 inch, and I'm gonna estimate another 1/4 inch, and I'm gonna stay that far away from the design here. And if if it's not perfect, then whatever. But that's how I'm getting the 1/2 inch. Like as I approach here, I'm just stopping when I'm about that 1/4 inch away. And that's where I know to do the next kind of shaping. And here we're gonna go around this flower. All right, about like that. And now here's where we're gonna run into this other design, and I can't really see. I'm gonna peek. Oh, look, we're right at the point. All right, so now I'm gonna travel up this edge. So I'm about a 1/2 inch away again, or that 1/4 inch. See, we just kind of ran into it. But I think that's okay. I think it'll be kind of neat. All right, and then we're just gonna continue. And then we're gonna just leave everything in here just blank. I'm gonna leave all these blank, and that'll be fun, I think. I'm trying to get better at contrast in the quilting, because I think some of my earlier ones, it looked like a lot of just quilting, 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 quilting everywhere, and you couldn't really even see the designs really, because it was just so busy. So I'm trying to get better at that by having more contrast. So like more dense spaces to the big open spaces. So I don't know, this one's a little bit of a practice one for that. All right, I'm trying to trace around these bowls. I don't know how well I'm doing. Oh yeah, it's the opposite for you guys. You guys are just starting to turn to autumn. That's a nice season. Although I am partial to spring, summer. I do like after the snow melts and everything just starts smelling like spring, and the green, and you know, the daffodils start and all that good stuff. Fall's nice, and everyone likes fall. Kind of for the same reason as spring, I think. It just gets like that nice temperature and stuff. But for fall, for me, everything's just getting colder and colder, and I don't know. It's more hopeful in spring, I think. I like summer. I like sitting outside in summer and reading outside or knitting outside, anything. Oh, Gretchen, yeah, I'd love to see what those spirals look like. But fall is awfully nice for walks in the neighborhood, that's for sure. All right, move my hands a little bit. I'm getting a little trapped down here, so I got my grippets holding things in here. That got a little stuck. All right, so we're at that last little bump, and that's the last bump there. So we've gone around our piece. So now I'm going to go back the other way, 1/4 of an inch away now. So I'm going to just travel. So how I stay 1/4 inch of away, since this is this foot is 1/4 inch from the needle to all of the edges, I can just align the edge of my foot with the stitching I just did, and then I should get like a line that mimics the one 1/4 inch away. All right, so let's go back up where we went. Man, right now I wish I had a see-through sewing machine so I could see all my quilting up here. Wouldn't that be neat? What if this whole thing was clear, like that neat acrylic, like molded acrylic or something? I could just see straight through, and all the mechanisms on the inside would be clear too. Oh man, someone should do this. And then I could see straight through all of the moving parts and all of this metal stuff down here, and I could see all of this up here because I'm totally kind of blind right now. Oh, I like it. So someone has to get an old Singer sewing machine, like an old vintage Singer sewing machine. They got to take every single piece apart, cast, like make molds of every single piece, and cast it in like that resin. Oh my God, I really want to do this now. And then attempt to put it back together and see if they can get it running. That would be amazing. I think that would just be so good. All right, people. You want to make $1 bajillion, get on top of that. All right, so see how I'm just kind of following the line with my presser foot there. Oh my God, I'm gonna like just be dreaming about that now. I know, that's true, Kay. I could turn it around. I could very much easily turn it around. I guess the reason I'm not is because I'm kind of practicing I'm practicing my quilting. So like what my thought process is, if I have a bigger quilt, I'm not going to be turning that around. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to be rotating the whole piece. So I know I could, with this small piece, totally easily rotate it, but I'm trying to get in the habit of not doing that just because I know on a larger quilt I probably wouldn't be doing that. But yeah, if you're working on a small project like this, and if you're not doing weird experiments like I am like that, go for it. Just turn the whole piece. That'd be way easier. Ooh, you guys, if this was all clear, you would be able to see how low your bobbin thread is. How about that? Now I've sold you, I bet. All right, scooching down this side. All right, so here I'm gonna hit what we did prior. So once I hit it, I'm gonna just trace this curved line here, and then we'll start it back up again. And we'll have to do that again when we get over here. All right, so we've hit that. Yeah, exactly. When it needs to be cleaned, you would know right away. Oh, I like it. I like it, like it, like it. And it would all be made in plastic, which in theory is a cheap material to make things out of these days. You know, not ideal, things out of plastic, but I don't know. I like it. Oop, got a little close there. There is something to this, like me moving in this direction, like horizontally in this direction. It doesn't want to move as smoothly as when I'm going the other direction. So I don't know if that's something I just need to practice, or if that's, you know, because I'm having those issues with my presser feet not going down, or what. I don't know. But that direction is a little tougher for me. All right, we're gonna squeeze in here. Again, this is another moment where this would be way easier if I just turned. I could just turn the whole piece. Oh yeah, the feed dogs, not the presser foot. Yeah, that's what I mean, Gretchen. Ooh, Barbara, awesome. Ooh, the darning foot. Oh yeah, that isn't as great for seeing. Yeah, what I like about this, because I had a darning foot, I was using, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so I was using something more like this, which is totally fine. But what I didn't like about this is one where it rests on the top, so it can kind of be spring. So if you get like a thicker part, I think it'll just kind of go up. But what I didn't like about this is it's like this oval. So I'm stitching in the middle, but I don't have a good estimate of how far away from things I am. This would be cool. You could do like a big zigzag thing. So I don't know. I'm sure there's a better purpose for this than what I'm doing here. But yeah, I wanted to give this guy a try, and I like it. All right, that's that right there. Oh my God, I was so tempted to turn it just now. Oh yeah, you guys, these are grippets. So here you go. I do have a link for it in here, I believe. So grippets, grippet. So it's Sewing Mates, and then just add a .com, and you'll find them on their website. They actually manufacture my extension table here too. The extension table is completely adjustable, so I can use this on any machine, which is the only one on the market I was able to find that does that. Usually you have to, when you buy an extension table, you have to tell the manufacturer, oh, it's a 74 Kenmore sewing machine or whatever, and then they have to customize it for that. But this, like, it has, it's all screws, so I can adjust it back and forth, like a little recessed screws as little wing nuts. So I can move it this way, I can widen this, I can raise and lower it, so it would work for any machine. And I figured, I don't know if I'm gonna have this guy together forever, or if he piddles out at some point, or if I get a new machine, I'm still gonna want an extension table, and I just didn't like the idea of having to buy more than one extension table. But yeah, so that's the Sew Adjustable extension table, and that's the same place as here. So Sewing Mates and then .com. And again, I do think I have a quick link in this post for you. All right, so I'm just going to turn this right now just to show you, but I am going to turn it back because I am practicing not turning things, like it's a real quilt. But oh, here, let's start out by getting rid of this. I think this is our last pin. Got a stack of pins over here. So now we've made ourselves some little shapes that I need to fill in. I got to fill in this area. This is like the little background. We got some oddball shape here, a little kind of goofy shape in here, and then around the edge a little bit. And that's where I'm trying to practice my little swirls. And I gotta tell you, these like give me anxiety. I never, like, I get in there and then I feel like I'm trapped and I don't know how to get out without running into places and stuff. So I think it's just, I need practice. So I'm gonna turn this back this way. This would be the ideal position to sew this from, because I can see everything. But again, I am gonna do it this direction, just, you know, practicing as if I have a gigungous quilt here and, you know, I can't rotate things well. So that's kind of why I'm leaving it like this. It's just practice. Okay, so, and it's gonna be actually kind of a little tough to hold it. I think I'm gonna have to hold it up and down like this because I don't have anything to here to grab on. All right, we're gonna try these swirls. Oh, thanks, Deborah. They're definitely getting better, the swirls, but I don't know. I don't feel any less panicky, I guess. Like already I'm like, oh my God, I'm picturing a swirl. Like just then when I paused, I was picturing a swirl and then I was like, oh my God, but how do I get out? How do I get out of that swirl? So I'm going to attempt a swirl where I get close to the edge, but then I got to get out of there. We're going to just try. This is what I'm talking about. All right. Swirl. Here we go. Okay. All right. Now I got to get out. Oh, I could just go right out. I was thinking I'd have to go around the inside, but I can stay on the outside here. All right, well, we got one little hook in there so far. All right, let's just go some more. Like, I know that there's literally just some concept that I just gotta have in my head that I'm not quite understanding for these swirls. I'm sure it's just like, well, duh, go the other way because this and that. You know what I mean? So that's the part that I'm not on top of yet. All right, so next swirl, I'm just gonna start one. We're gonna swoop it up this way. All right, now I gotta get out. There's always like two ways to get out. Like there's two directions I could go in, and that's the part that I get messed up on. And where to go next. At some point you just gotta decide though, I suppose. All right, we're gonna do that thing where we bump to the next spot, like down at there where we kind of echo what we just did. Oh, these are looking good. I'm still panicky though, I'm telling you. Oh, Mary, yeah. So I think of everything, I don't think of things as like, oh, this project has to be perfect or anything. I just think of everything as experiments. You kind of hear me say that a lot, like, oh, I always have an agenda. So, you know, like not turning the thing. It's always experimenting and learning for me. So if I know that a project went to that goal of learning and trying to improve, then it was successful for me. Like then I can look at that project and know, oh yeah, that's the project that made me get better at this or that. So we'll just do one more bump here. So that's why I think it's a little easier for me to just experiment, because I know the ultimate purpose is to try and get better, and that is a crazy looking swirl. All right, I need to do a bigger swirl, I think. Let's go around here. So I think that's why I don't get so caught on something being super perfect. And I always try and, okay, now I'm lost again. I always try, I'm doing this little hook here. I always try and practice something with each project. So I'm always kind of pushing myself. So I feel like if I can go back in time, or I mean not go back in time, but like if I need, like if I were not that I don't do this, but like let's say I was hired for some reason to embroider something or something. If it's a project that, you know, if I know how to do the stuff already, then that's going to be good anyway from all the practice. So when I know that these are experiments, you know, I'm not going to give the experiments out, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's not true. Maybe I kind of keep everything an experiment to some extent. But I know, like, I can always go back to the things that I've learned, I suppose, and call upon those if I need to. All right, we are in this little trapped world here. So I could, I filled all these in. So I need to get to the next bump out. So what would have been smart is, you know, since I'm starting down here, I could have worked my way up here and then worked my way back down, because then I would have ended up here, and I could have just kind of jogged up, just traced this a little bit and got back up here. But I didn't do that. I ended up way up in this corner. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to just jump. I'm going to just lift up the needle and jump to that next area. I feel like this is like a quilt police thing. I feel like the quilt police would be like, oh, you didn't manage your time correctly. You didn't manage your area correctly there to end up here to get there, but, you know, whatever. I'm making myself a mental note, and maybe I'll try and do that next time. So for example, here is just a tiny little blip before I have to get to the next area here. So maybe there's a way that I can somehow fill in this spot, get down here, and then end up here. I don't know if my swirl skills can manage that, but I can have the mental idea of like, hey, it would be real nice to end up right there. Then I wouldn't have to do a big jump. So let's see how that goes. Yeah, that's the thing too, Gretchen. You don't have to get good at everything either. Like if you just do what you enjoy or what you're interested in, you know, if you don't want to like, see, that's the thing that why I like experiments too, is I can give something a try and then I can be like, oh, yep, I straight don't like that. And then I'll just not do that anymore. Or I'll decide later, okay, I'm ready to work on, now I'm ready for that idea. And I want to, that's kind of how the free motion quilting was for me. Like it took me years before to even try this because I just didn't, I don't know, I didn't think I could do it, or it just maybe just didn't interest me quite enough in that moment. But now I am interested in it, so now I'm putting more time into it. But like there's nothing wrong with getting it sent out or anything either. That's totally legit. It's just something you don't want to do, and why do something you don't want to do? Well, that's no fun. It's supposed to be fun. All right, I'm totally, oh here, maybe I can just start a swirl right away. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna not fill in that space before I get down there, but look, haha, solved it. All right, but now I'm stuck again. Oh, maybe I can just do another swirl. I'm trying to figure out, you know, I was trying to get down here and back up, but now I'm like, how do I do that? We could go here, and then I'd be in like a little echo world. Where did I leave this one? Hold on, I don't even know how I got out of that last swirl. Okay, yeah, so I'm going in this direction still. Well, I guess we're going this way. So those are a bunch of swirls that were all kind of in the same direction. We're just gonna come to a little point here, a little hook, and then we're gonna echo these. So I don't like that these are all going in the same direction, but I didn't know what to do. So I'm just gonna echo them all, even up to this part here. And then we'll just try and add another little swirl. It's acceptable. All right. All right, so I'm hitting the border here, and now I'm gonna just travel up to the next spot. Man, I don't know. I should have just tried to fill it and not worry about getting back up to there. I think this would have been a little bit prettier, but you know, again, we were trying an experiment there. Can I go here and end up here? And I'm sure someone else could do it a whole lot better, but we're practicing. All right, so this is a really kind of, I'm gonna just twist so you can see again. It's a little hard to see because it's on this print, but it bloops up to here and over, and a couple bloops, and then kind of ends here almost, or it kind of bleeds over here, and then it's straight. So it's just, you know, maybe one swirl here and a swirl here, and then just getting out, and then fill in some space. So then we're just at the border, really. So we're almost done with this, I think, actually. All right, let's see. Yeah, okay. All right, let's give it a go. It's kerchunking through that, like it's working hard. So we had that, oh, you can even hear it. We had that fusible web here to put this down, and that's adding some thickness. So I can definitely tell as I stitch through it. All right, so now I'm gonna kind of get up into this next area. So that was swirly. All right. Now what? So we have kind of two directions to go in. This kind of goes off the edge. I think this will be sewn into the quilt here. So I'm gonna come and get one swirl here and then connect it up there. I got like 3 inches or so, 2 inches maybe. And then I'm gonna just travel, and then we'll do a couple little blips down here. I mean, I think that's actually really, you know, I don't know, that's it. Just putting some texture in here, because like I said, it'll probably be mostly cut off. So we'll just see a couple little blips here and there. All right, but here we'll try and get a swirl going. You know, I just feel like this was good. I mean, like, maybe I should do this on another one of our blocks here. Just practice these swirls again. I think that's just really what it's gonna take. Like, practicing getting in and out of these tiny spaces and, you know, thinking about where to go next. All right, so there we are. I'm gonna travel down now. Let a little bloop into here. All right, and then we'll just kind of fill in these spaces along the way. So we're just doing a few tiny little swirls. And again, this area is mostly all going to be covered up from, you know, from it being sewn into the quilt. We'll probably even cut it off because this is all like excess. But, you know, it's a little practice. All right, here I think we can get a little bit, ooh, I went a little further down than I wanted. I didn't want to do it that way, but there, here, let's get a little swirl going. Losing my grip a little bit. Whoop. There, I think that's about it. Again, this area down here will all be trimmed off. So I think we will stop right there. Let's see what we have. Oh, and then we have this big old jump over here. So let's trim that quickly. Or I like the first one. So this seems like a thing too with me and swirls. Like the first one usually ends up being better than the other ones, I think. I think I get in my head a little too much. but I don't know. So here, oh, in the light you can really see the swirls here. So here are those swirls sections, and then we filled in up here and just kind of around here, even though, yeah, this is all going to get cut off. But I mean, I think that looks pretty cute. I like the texture of it all. Like, I like how dense it is to how airy these are. I think that's really fun. So let's flip it around. All right. Oh, this kind of looks like steam coming off of our soup a little bit. That's fun. All right, you guys. So that is it. This is another finished square here. I'm happy with it. I like these kind of airy spaces, and I like these fun outlines. I mean, I think that's something that we're going to probably keep doing a lot more of because they're just fun. Like these poofy outlines around our shapes. Even like the double outline I think is kind of cool. I think it looks especially interesting here. But yeah, so we will, that's maybe a technique we can keep using. But I like it. Here we go. And there's a little Chad written in there. Little kitty. Oh, did I trim? Oh yeah, I must have trimmed that other jump already. Well, I think that's it for tonight then, guys. A little short one. So on Monday, what we'll be doing is I'm going to get my cutting board out. We're going to move all the sewing stuff for a little bit, and I'm going to get my cutting boards out, and we will trim this edge on all 4 of these. So we need to trim them down before we do the binding. So like here's one that's trimmed down. And what we might find, especially with some of these ones where we have the like double poof batting, you know, we're using up fabric by having that thickness there. So if there's this much bulge with this fabric, that's just pulling all the fabric inward because we need to use it for that bulge, right? So we are probably losing, you know, millimeters and stuff around the edge every time we do this fat stitching like this. So what ends up happening is that we trim it to size, but we don't have enough. See, my batting is showing through here. That's because, you know, we've cut these blocks to that 6.5 inches, but when we start quilting a lot, they squeeze in, again, because of all the poofs. So we lose, you know, here I have like a whole 1/4 inch at least that needs to be covered up. So we may, I'm assuming, find that to be the case with these as well. So we might actually have to add, I don't know how we're going to do that yet, but we might have to add a little white strip or something just to, like right up here. We'll probably, before we sew this into something else, I might have to just sew a little white area here just so I got enough things to sew on, you know? I need to, you know, not have batting show through. So I haven't encountered that issue. This is my first time doing this Quilt As You Go. So you know what? Maybe I'll do a little research on what other people, because I'm sure this is a common thing with this, or a common issue at least. If we're having the issue, then I'm sure tons of other people are having the issue. So I'm sure someone has come up with an interesting solution to that. So maybe I'll do some research on that over the weekend. And then, yep, on Monday we will trim these all down, and then we'll also cut the fabric we need for the binding pieces. So we already have the front ones cut. That's these 2 strips with the one in the middle. That's the same as what we've been using for the sashing. But for the back, we need to cut more of these. And I believe they're 1.5 inches for these. They're folded in half just like a binding and then sewn on and then hand stitched down. You can see my hand stitching on this side. So we'll cut those as well, and maybe we'll even have time to start sewing the blocks together on Monday. But that is next week's project. We are getting these together. All right. Okay, I think it's 13 inches. So these were 6.5, 6.5. They lost a 1/4 inch here. So now it's 6.25, 6.25, and this was 1 inch, but we lost a 1/4 inch on both sides for the seam allowance. So this is 1/2 inch, and these are 6.25. So that's 12.5, and then another half, 13. So it's 13 inches. That's what they should end up being. And I only have like a 10-inch square ruler. so it gets a little difficult to cut these out for me. So that's why I'm glad we're doing it all at once. And so I'm going to mark this as the center, and we're going to just measure out from there what will be that 13 inches. So, and then that's where we're going to cut. And that's why sometimes, you know, I just didn't have enough right there, you know? And that's because, yeah, it's just being sucked in. So this will be with the sashing. If you're doing it just like how I'm doing it, then it's 13 inches. I cut out 1 inch sashing, but once it's sewn in, you know, you're losing a 1/4 inch on each side for the seam allowance. So it ends up being 1/2 inch sashing. Yeah, I'll probably have to do like 2 rulers together. Man, I wanted to get a really big square ruler, but dang, they are expensive. They were way more expensive than I thought they would be. So I'm gonna wait on that a little bit longer. But all right, I'm gonna flip you guys around and we will call it an evening here. I always like looking at the backs. Hello. So thank you guys again for hanging out with me. I guess, you know, I just got a little sad because this is the last, we'll be free motion quilting for a while again, probably. We built up a bunch of blocks so we could do a whole pile of free motion quilting all at once, but now we don't have any more blocks to quilt. So we'll stitch these together and we'll have to make some more blocks. That'll be good. We've been doing this for a while. It's time to crank out more of the Splendid Sampler 2 blocks. And then when we bulk up on them again, we'll sew them into 4s and start some free motion quilting again. But yeah, that was good practice. I had a good time. So thanks again, you guys. I will get this up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies. So I hope you subscribe over there, and it will also stay here on the Facebook page, the Penguin and Fish Facebook page, and that's where we do this every weeknight, 8:30 p.m. Central. So have a great weekend, and I'll see all y'all on Monday. Good night.